Hey guys, welcome back to Old World Wednesday. I do apologize for the state of this scene. I have a big machine set up on my desk right now that I need to use for a different project. So it would just be a lot of work to take it out of the way just for this intro. So you'll have to just deal with it right now. In today's video, we are going to be diving into the world of Orcs and Goblins, which is one of my planned future armies for the Old World. I've already bought, I think, the entire army that I need. And I think after Cathay, Orcs and Goblins will be the thing that I will focus on as a new army. And I'm very excited to do that. I'm not too pushed on a lot of the newer sculpts. They're nice and I will be using a lot of them, but if I can get older ones, I will. And by that I mean it's a lot of the special stuff, the old metal wyverns, and especially things like pump wagons and the trolls. So in today's video, I'm going to focus on river trolls. I managed to pick up a set of the 3 river trolls that Games Workshop did when they did a made to order not too long ago, and they've sat unbuilt and unpainted since then. So in today's video, I'm going to start tackling that box set. I'm going to get them all base coated and washed, and then I'm going to push one of them down to the finish line just to see what it will actually look like, which is going to be exciting to see. Before I get to the video, just a huge thank you to everyone there that continues to support all the channels that I have, whether it be Middle Earth Monday, Old World Wednesday, or of course Mediocre Hobbies itself, the main channel. Please do go and check all them out if you didn't realize there was 3. There's 3 channels. Make sure you subscribe to them all. You check out those videos. You guys are awesome. Everyone who likes, comments, subscribes, or watches, I really thank you so much. And even goes the extra mile that supports me over on Patreon. You guys literally keep these lights on and this camera rolling, so thank you so much. I try and give back with Patreon as much as possible. That's why we do extra videos and podcasts and private Discord server and painting competition. We do a whole load of stuff over there. It's really, really cool. But then also I like to give back every single month with a large box set. This box set will be won by one lucky patron this month. This is the Eldritch Raiders box set, which contains all the new beautiful Eldar miniatures that just got released. So like I said, that will be sent at my expense anywhere in the world to one lucky patron. All you need to do to be entered is to make sure that you're subscribed to the Patreon at any tier. Okay, that's enough faffing around. Let's dive in and start painting these trolls. Okay, so these are the river trolls. Absolutely beautiful sculpts. Very, very old sculpts, to be honest with you. I think I was reading an article about when they were sculpted and it was, I don't know, 7th edition Warhammer Fantasy. So we're talking a long time ago now. And unlike rock trolls, stone trolls, sorry, who had many sculpts, the river trolls only got 3. So this is the complete collection of river trolls, which is nice. And like I said, I'm going to focus on getting base coats and washes done on all 3. But as I was kind of going through it and painting them up, I realized that I wanted to focus a lot more time on the skin. So I decided to just cut it down to 1 for the final stretch of the video, just to get kind of the quality that I wanted out of the model, instead of trying to rush myself towards the deadline. Obviously, the first kind of few steps are just going to be real quick fire rounds. The Militarum green across the skin, the Basilicanum grey on all of the fur, which there's a strange amount of fur in strange places. And then there's a weird amount of scales as well, which where the scale placement is doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. And in the original, I don't know, the artwork or the original painted ones that you can find from the original army books, the scales on the fur were painted the same. Now maybe that was just a lack of colors back in the day, but I found that quite surprising. I wanted to kind of keep with that theme as much as possible, but I changed it a little bit. So the fur will be grey and all the scales are going to go black. So I grabbed some Black Legion for that and went in and painted all the patches of the black scaly sections on the trolls. This broke it up quite nicely. It did look like quite an exotic, frog-like color scheme, which I think works a lot for the trolls. But I knew I was going to spend quite a lot of time layering up that skin to a nice color. So, having a lot of the skin become scales made that task a lot easier. Volupus Pink was then used to paint in amongst all of the mouths, including covering the teeth entirely. Because when we get to base coating and layering up the teeth, I like to leave the kind of base of the tooth nice and pink. It just breaks up the mouth a lot better. It looks really nice. Wildwood for the clubs. 2 different models are carrying wooden clubs. And then the other guy's one is bone, so we'll worry about that later. But a bit of wildwood to knock in those colors. There also comes a stage later on in the video where I don't layer everything up because some parts just kind of fold into the back. I don't really do anything else with the fur after it's washed. I just leave it be. It looks fine. It's not the focal point of the model. And honestly, it's not well enough sculpted to layer up. It would look weird. You want some details that aren't very well sculpted to kind of blend into the background, and bits that are sculpted really well, like the face and the mouth and the teeth and the tongue, all those sections, and that's where you want to spend your time, I think. So with all those base coats on, we threw a Seraphim Sepia shade across the entire miniature, top to bottom, and left that to dry. While it was drying, we added some Dark Earth texture paste from AK Interactive onto it as well, just to start off the basing process for this model. When that was ready to rock and roll, we were ready to start the layering process on that skin. And recently I have been delving into the world of, what's the yellow called again? Ice yellow, which people recommend in every goddamn painting video ever. People use ice yellow. So I'm going to play around with it when this one's Dragon Green, Ogre Camo, and Ice Yellow are going to be the three colors that I focus on for layering up the skin. And it starts with kind of a dull color, which is fine. It's exactly what we want for that kind of beginning of a mid-tone. It's just around kind of setting those volumes. Blocking in that color and tidying up any blotches that happen from contrast or shade. There's not a lot. I'm quite good with the controlling of both those two things. So usually the coat comes out quite nice. And obviously the shade will dictate where all of the layering will go, because it'll leave light, nice kind of dark patches, which is where the shadow is. And then you just want to highlight all of the other bits of it. And with a face as kind of prominent as this thing, it's actually quite a lot of fun to paint up faces like this. It's not subtle. When you get to like an elf's face and everything is so subtle and so small and so sharp, it can be a real pain. Give me a big ugly troll head any day. That's what I want to paint. It's so much more fun. Here I'm going in with that mid-tone second coat, brightening it all up. Obviously moving slower, taking my time and leaving a lot less paint behind. And it just looks so cool. After that, of course, we have our mid-tone. And this is going to start making the skin pop. It's going to make it look really nice. And kind of push it more towards that kind of fantasy-esque skin tone. We don't want it to look particularly natural. I don't think Warhammer, especially old retro Warhammer, is meant to look natural. It's supposed to be 80s and colorful and gaudy and awesome. That's the kind of style that I enjoy. That's what I like looking at on the tabletop, not hyper-realistic skin. Anyway, here is that ice yellow stage now. And of course, this is the only stage where everything goes blurry. The camera doesn't know what to focus on, which is an absolute pain, because this was the one that really kind of set the tone for the face. It looks really nice. The ice yellow was definitely a good shout, and I enjoy using it. So I'm going to have to have it as a continuous thing in my painting arsenal these days, a bit of ice yellow. Can see it being very useful for very many different projects. You see the difference between the skin tone on the face and the body here with the addition of the ice yellow. And you see we are going in with quite a translucent, like thin highlight of it. And yeah, I really like how the skin looks. I think it looks like a cool troll head now. Now we just have a couple of other details to focus on now that the skin is ready and fully painted. So the first thing we are going to do is, of course, jump over and work on the tongue. So pink horror was used as the first highlight. Some of the interior of the gums can be painted as well. You can actually see the little tonsils hanging down in the background, so I highlighted those up. And then I actually just, while it was still on the palette, I added a touch of ice yellow into this mix and then give it another highlight just to make it pop, because it just wasn't as highlighted as I would have wanted it to be. And the ice yellow mixed in definitely gave me the results that I wanted, which was quite nice. Morghast bone and Ushabti bone were used for all the teeth and claws. This is another thing which I find quite fun and funny, is like nowadays there's so many different bone variants and stuff like that, that every section of a model is different. Like the nails would have been painted a different to his teeth, and his teeth would be painted a little bit different to the bone charms on his. But back in the 80s, it was like, what parts are bone? Cool, here's the bone recipe. Do them all in those colors. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So these two colors were used for all the nails and all the bone sections and all the teeth. It works a treat. You're leaving nice shadowed bits behind, but you're just highlighting the raised sections. Especially with the teeth, like I said before, we left the pink at the very base of the tooth, and we just started highlighting like kind of 60-70% up. And then when we jumped up to this, which is the final Ushabti bone, we're kind of like 30% up. So it's the tip of the tooth, and then you go 30% down, highlight that, and that's it. And this gives you a really nice, realistic looking effect. It's not really hard work. It's just, you know, tools and techniques over talent, I think. After this, we added the dry brush to the texture paste on the base. So a little bit of Rise of Rust is what I use. Orange and Bone is what I use to texture up and dry brush up my brown bases. It works an absolute treat. And like I said before, I focused on the teeth, the mouth, the face, the skin. Like that's what you look at. When you look at this miniature, those are the bits you focus on. Not the wood, not the scales, not any of that. So when I'm doing this bone dry brush here, I just carry it across most of the body and catch all those scales and hair. And just add a tiny little dry brush highlight to all of those sections to make them look painted. But I'm not going to go in and do anything else to any of them. This is good enough for me. Evil Sun Scarlet and Wild Rider Red was just used for his eyes. So a solid coat across the entire eyeball with the Evil Suns. And then a nice kind of mid highlight in the middle, the Wild Rider Red. I've also been playing around with some new basing techniques just for fun, for flock. They're not very new, they're kind of old techniques, I think, but I don't know anyone who uses it this way. But it's a lot of fun. So I take this sponge flock stuff and I just add a dot of super glue to the base. And then I just simply push the whole clump of sponge into that. The sponge will absorb the super glue and dry in seconds. And then you simply pull the sponge away, it'll tear and it will leave behind a nice bit of like flock behind. I think it looks really nice. It's really kind of retro style to it. And I think it sets off the model really nicely. So here is my finished River Troll, 1 of 3. Like I said, the other 2 are fully base coated, washed and have their bases done. So I'll layer those up this evening and have the entire unit finished by the end of the day, I think. But for the first one I did, the finished one, I'm really pleased with the result. Hopefully you guys are too. Once again, as always, please let me know if there's anything specific you want to see on the Old World Wednesday channel, and I will do my very best to deliver that to you. I'll see you guys in the next video.